Test, test, hello, test, hello. Hey guys, welcome back. This video is specifically for Scarlet's Secret of Area Zero DLC, because I sure like to do things that are not actually part of whatever my channel is called. Because I completed the Pokedex for these two DLC, and I waited until the second one was out to make a video so I could do them on both. And I definitely didn't record a video for the base game and these two before I remembered that I already had one on the base game, and this definitely isn't me doing it a second time. But yeah, here we are. The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero. Got the Pokedex completed for both of these. Let's talk about it for a bit. I'm gonna start with the Teal Mask, and again, I want to kind of be specific here that it's probably spoilerish. I mean, I'm not gonna try my best to spoiler things, but just what are you doing here? If you don't want to be spoiled on it, you shouldn't be here. But the first part of the DLC, you go to a different part of the map, you go to a new place. You run into the two more characters, you know, Carmine and Kieran. Overall, really, honestly, the story was fine. I think my main problem with the first part, Teal Mask, was that it's just really short. It just felt really, really easy and short. Most of the Pokemon in that area are all like 70, like 65, 70, and at this point, you've got a post-game team. It might have been harder if you just went straight into this, but again, I mean, well, for starters, it's Pokemon. But I didn't have any trouble with Teal Mask. I feel like I beat it in one sitting. Like, I don't remember really spending a lot of time on it. I just kind of steamrolled my way through it. The story's fine. I don't have any real nitpicks about that. The loyal three, the legendary three, whatever, and the Ogre Pawn, it's fine. It's fine. I think the best character really is Kieran, and the fact that the two DLC are directly related. You have to play Teal Mask to start Indigo Disc, because Indigo Disc takes place after Teal Mask, and they're tied together, and that's actually not a bad idea. I like these two DLC a lot more than I liked the Sword and Shield pair, because Isle of Armor didn't seem like it meant anything, even though Teal Mask kind of has the Isle of Armor problem, where it was just kind of something to do and it wasn't fun necessarily in itself. Not that this was bad, it's just that the second DLC in both cases I think was better. It was more entertaining and it gave me a lot more to do, I thought. So you have the story here. You finish the story, and you really just kind of have a smaller-ish area to run around and catch whatever Pokemon you don't already have. I already had the Pokedex for the base map, which meant I had a really high amount of the Pokemon that were already on this map. Like, I probably had half or more than half of what was already on Teal Mask's map. So it did not take me very long at all to do it. And yeah, if I look at it real quick, I don't think there's anything that sticks out as being especially problematic. I mean, Teal Mask only added a couple new things, you know, the Poltergeist and Diplin and whatever else they added. I'm not even sure that the Blood Moon Ursaluna is related to the Dex. I don't know if you need it, but even if you didn't, it's basically legendary, so you were probably going to get it. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't get it. And it was nice to see them add some stuff like Basculin Legion. It's fun to see them add to a base map, some of the Hisuian stuff. But Teal Mask, you know what? I don't even remember what you get for... completing the Pokedex, and I'm definitely not typing that in and looking that up right now. Oh yeah, completing the Kitakami Dex gives you the Glimmering Charm, which makes you get a lot more Terra Shards when you complete raid battles. And honestly, that was kind of a necessary thing. I get it's kind of like a buff to the fact that the base game just didn't want to give you Terra Shards, and it took forever to get them, it felt like. And now, depending on the difficulty of the raid, you get upwards of like 10 extra shards on top of whatever you would have got, which honestly is really nice to have. especially if you ever actually intend to change the Terra type on Pokemon. It's good to do. And this Pokedex was real easy to finish, especially if you already had the other one. But the only other thing I feel like mentioning related to the Kitakami Dex was that they added that Ogre Oustin minigame and all of the Mochi, I'm gonna call it Mochi, items that you get from Ogre Oustin, which are like vitamin replacements for boosting EVs, except that the Restart Mochi will erase all EVs with one use, which is probably one of the most useful items in this game if you intend to like train people. And it comes from this Ogre Oustin game, which, if I'm honest, is like kind of laggy for me, kind of weird. I guess you're intended really to use more than one person, like a group of 3 or 4 people to do it, especially to beat hard mode. But you don't need to do that to get Mochi, and I don't know how many times you really ever need to use Mochi, since the raids and all these Pokemon are like, I already have 0 EV Pokemon. Like, I just get a new guy and I don't use him, and then I train him. And I mean, I haven't really needed to use barely 2, and it was only on people that I traded in that weren't, tuned. But it's definitely there, and it's definitely useful. And by the way, if you complete the hard mode on the Ogre Oustin or something, they'll give you a shiny Munchlax with a special mark. It's there. You probably need a team of 4 to do it. I haven't bothered to do that because I don't care, but it's definitely there. It's a thing, and it has a mark. It has as far as I know, a unique mark. So you want a shiny Munchlax, there you go get that. But all right, I mean, yeah, Kitakami Dex, I wouldn't say there's a lot of problems in here. I mean, it was really cool to see Ducklet and Swanna again, but I forgot about them to the degree that I thought they were new. So I mean, yeah, I didn't know they were there. I like seeing Chandelier back. I like a lot of these. I think maybe the biggest problem would be Feebas Melodic, but there are just raids for Melodic. So really the trouble's finding a Feebas, and if you had a Melodic, you could just breed it from Feebas if you didn't even want to. You don't even need to go look for it. So whatever. I mean, it's just kind of a stopgap. It felt like this felt like the prelude to the Blueberry Academy second part of this DLC, which I don't hate. It was something to do. It was a little more story. Sinistcha's a fun idea. So yeah, I mean, that's just where we're at. So I'm gonna talk about the Blueberry, the second one, the Indigo Disc. I think it's really fun. Yeah, I just thought it was fun. Storyline spoiler-ish was the reason you had to do one before the other is that because you just like completely just crush Kieran in the previous DLC, he has it out for you and is just kind of losing his mind, and now he's really good. And if I was going to commend Indigo Disc for anything, it's that it's mostly, if not entirely, double battles, which is cool, and they are hard. They're actually something. They have competitive teams. They have actual strategies you might see somebody use, and the only real saving grace for you is that they're like level 75 and you can take hundreds into this. And I still lost 1 or 2 Pokemon in certain battles, and I nearly failed 1 or 2 by just underestimating what was going to happen. And I only really say fail because, I just don't care to revive Pokemon. I just didn't care. I'd rather just lose than bother to revive anyone. But the battles are tough. The Elite Four are surprisingly challenging. Kieran has also got some cheeky tricks that you don't normally see a Pokemon game give to people. And I'm curious to think what like normal players feel about how high the stakes have got with this one. Otherwise, it's like someone called it Unova's Safari Zone, which is a cool idea because technically it is in Unova. It's just out in the ocean, and it's a terrarium biome under the ocean, and it's got a bunch of Pokemon. I like the biome. The biome, I thought it was going to be too small, but it's massive. and it's got a lot of stuff in it. Once again, I don't think it had like, I think there was a lot of overlap between the other 2 decks at this point and this one, but this also actually felt like it took time to finish, and it's probably due to the fact that there's a lot of trade to evolves in this Pokedex. Some of them you could just find, and in all fairness, many show up in raids. But like, you see a lot of repeat offenders here that I traded in from home instead of bothered to go get a raid or bothered to trade anybody to evolve them. You know, Rhyperior, Electivire, Magmortar. You can catch Scizor and Cleavor, so you don't have to do that. But I mean, Kingdra, there's a bunch that are trade to evolve, and if you didn't already have one, you gotta actually do that. And those are usually those are the ones I have trouble with. I think there was something funny going on with the Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, Hitmontop trio, but I don't remember what it is. Golem is a trade to evolve, but a lot of these are just on the map. Like Hitmontop's on the map. Hitmonchan I got in a raid, I think. So this stuff's just out there. Golem was in a raid. You don't have to do this weird trade to evolve nonsense. And this one does kind of have some version exclusive Pokemon, which also made it tough, because I don't think the other DLC did. And if it did, there sure weren't many. So I don't remember it having that, but someone will fact check me and tell me I'm wrong. This one's definitely got Rampardos and Bastiodon as versions. It was cool to see Plusle and Minun back, to be honest. I like those. But one of my longtime enemies, the Porygon trio, because it's trade with item both times, it's in the DLC, and then if you don't already have one of each Porygon, I mean, you're probably going to want to save it and then put it in home, because I did not do that. I traded that guy in from home. I don't want to find people to trade with all the time, and it's easier to get stuff from home and do it that way. Oh, I think Sandslash and Ninetales were also trade to evolve, but the Pokedex tends to get really messy when it turns into the fact that you could spend battle points, or the blueberry points, I don't remember what they're called, blueberry points, BP, for increasing the biome diversity, which really adds previous starters, because every starting Pokemon can be added to the biome, and that's actually a lot of Pokemon, and you gotta go get them, and it actually takes quite a while to get that BP, but you don't have to do that to get these. Most people that would have gone this far can get you a Bulbasaur, and it was easy. And since these Pokemon are already in the 60s, 2 rare candy, or barely any candy at all, will get it to evolve into a Venusaur. It's just, if you intend to do the BP so you can catch them, it takes it quite a while to do it, especially by yourself. I would find somebody else trying to grind BP and get a group of 3, get a group of 4, anything but just yourself, honestly. Especially when you're in a union circle, you get an additional goal that's worth quite a lot more BP than normal, and it will go much faster. And you need something like 12,000 to buy all of the stuff for that. It's not crazy hard, but this Pokedex definitely took longer to do than the Kitakami one for Teal Mask. If you get around the 200 Pokemon mark, you can do another event that will get you the 2 extra Paradox Pokemon that are version exclusive that you do actually need for the Dex, which is another problem, because you gotta trade for the other 2. I have no doubt that if you wanted to trade a Gouging Fire for an Iron Crown, people would probably do that. I don't see why they would ever care not to do that. But it is certainly easier if you know somebody with the opposite game, because I want to keep the one I caught. I don't want to trade for a crown and then trade back for somebody else's fire. That's just not what I want to do. Otherwise, those are just the 2, individual legendaries you got to get a hold of. Don't quote me on this, but it lists Walking Wake and Iron Leaves as at the end of the Dex, but I'm not sure if they're required to complete it. It's listed underneath Terrapagos, which you would get doing the story, so I'm not really convinced that you have to do that, but it's something. If you do, better pay attention to those events, but surely because they're events, they're not going to do it like that. Let me think, what else was part of it? If you complete the Dex for Blueberry Academy or yeah, I think it's just Blueberry Pokedex. They'll give you a Mark Charm, which I think is a lot less useful than the Terra Shard Charm, since it's just another thing, just another random thing that can happen to Pokemon and beyond Pokemon. But if you really wanted to be crazy flexing on people, you would catch shinies with marks. So it's not impossible, it's just a lot harder to do. But why not? Marks are a thing. I just wish it was slightly more useful, but well, let me think. What else is in this DLC? It is weird how many Master Balls it gives you, because I must be up to 3 or 4, because y'all don't use those. And if you're having trouble later, you're gonna want them, since they introduced a guy called like Snacksworth that puts, depending on how many like missions you complete for the BP points, you can get other game legendaries to appear on the regular Paldean map, which is nice. I'm here for it. I'll take another Zekrom and Kyurem and Lugia, why not? I love Groudon. People like legendaries, and you gotta do a little work for them, but they're not required for the decks. I went and got them anyway, but they're not required for the decks. I just like having stuff sitting in home and having copies and copies and copies of stuff, because why not? It's a collection game. What else? There are a couple things that you can spend the BB points on in the room, the club room, that is definitely worth doing. First thing is probably upgrade the lock-on feature, because it doesn't tell you what that does, but it will definitely alter the lock-on feature to the point where when you sight in on people, you'll know if they have a mark or not. And that combines pretty good with the Mark Charm, because you can just run around and purposefully only catch people that have marks, and you'll know it has a mark. So, I mean, it was a cheap upgrade, and it was just another thing I'm surprised we didn't already have in the base game. The other thing was probably the item printer. I would buy and just max out as fast as possible, because it's actually really entertaining, and you can get a lot of money out of that. It just takes the Pokemon like material that you get from, defeating anyone, and depending on the weight percentage of which one it is, like let's say Delibird stuff I think is really heavy, you could just dump it all in there. Go find an outbreak of somebody, clean them out, and go throw it into the printer. You got to use it a few times to upgrade it, but once it's maxed out, it gives you a lot of stuff. And you can get bottle caps. I got gold bottle caps. You can get a Pokeball Lotto that has the opportunity to give you any of the rare Pokeballs, like the Moon Ball, Level Ball, Lure Ball, whatever. It can give you a Master Ball, I believe. And like currently right now, I think there is a Duraludon outbreak, and that stuff's valuable to the item printer, and they're just everywhere. They're all over the map, and they just keep spawning, and you just go in and auto battle them and just stack points and just throw it at the printer. Easy wins, and it gets a lot of money. It gets you a lot of items. It's got battle items in there. I probably have 30 toxic orbs. I don't need that many toxic orbs, but it's nice to have. It's nice to do. It's a fun little thing. I know there's other things you can upgrade. There are, you could change your throw animation. You can call in other teachers or people you know from the main map. And if you do that enough, you can fight a secret boss. And I believe if you beat the secret boss, he will also give you a shiny on purpose, which why not, right? If you feel like going that far for guaranteed giveaway shiny, do it. Something to do, right? I thought that the Blueberry Academy was certainly a lot more fun to do than the Kitakami one, but I still appreciate that they're packaged together. And I like that it's kind of one story instead of two. I think that's a good idea. I think Pokemon should probably stick to that. And I would really appreciate them sticking to this much more difficult challenge idea that this final DLC had. If anything, it might be more fun for them to purposely lock you out of Pokemon that you used in the previous game and force you to try a little bit harder, but it's still good. I liked it. I still think Scarlet's really nice. I like these DLC. I don't even remember what they cost, $30, $40. It's fine. If you like Scarlet and you don't have this, I don't know why you don't, but it's not the hardest Pokedex. I mean, it's a Pokedex. especially now that you have home and you could trade guys in from home, could be just trivial. Most of, if not all of these, are returning Pokemon. So depending on how many things you have in home and how good you are at pulling in and pooling things from trades, this could have taken you 4 seconds. I don't know. For the most part, it wouldn't have been that difficult. It's just is what it is. Fun enough story, entertaining to do. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I say it's good. Why not? If you were on the fence, I like it. I like Scarlet. I do like Scarlet. I think Scarlet is definitely like the final form of what Sword was aiming to do, and I want to see what they do going forward. But as far as I know, that's been this whole video of me rambling about the Pokedex completion for these 2 games and basically just talking about them since I managed to complete them, and that is my rule to allow me to talk about it. There's not an achievement, but technically it's as if it only had this as an achievement, was complete the Dex, so I'll count it. I don't care. I'll count it. I make the rules here. If you got any other game you want me to try, leave a comment, let me know. If you liked the video, that would be really nice. I would appreciate it. I'm getting really close to finishing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. I only have 1 left, and then I was considering going into Mortal Kombat 1 and trying to finally finish that stupid thing. I know somebody recommended me do Katamari, but I did buy that, and after however many videos of talking about Katamari, I played it and it made me really motion sick, so I might not be able to do that. I don't know if there's a motion blur thing or just a different way for me to go about it, but it was making me really motion sick, so I might not actually be able to do that one because I don't want to feel bad. But either way, if you got some stuff you want me to try, you got I don't know, achievements, games, I might be going back to doing a couple smaller games just because I've spent a long time over the last few months just playing these big, chunky, takes 3 years to complete games, and not always doing achievements. Not all the time. Sometimes I'm doing other stuff. So yeah, I'm rambling. If you got stuff you want me to try, leave a comment. Well, I'll take a look at it. In the meantime, see ya.